What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day out there today. So, guys, I see this question asked time and time and time again, or people having the same problem over and over and over again. How to install a Pinion. This is going to be a relatively quick video. Most of you out there, I'm sure, know, but I'm throwing this video out for the people just starting out in the hobby, just changing their Pinions for the first time and gearing this stuff up. And what you should do to make sure they stay on there. Because I see this problem in question just numerous times on Facebook sites and in my comments and everywhere. People losing their Pinions constantly, having them fall off, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, we are working on changing the Pinion out, changing the gearing on the Arma Mojave here. I have pulled the motor out. There's your two screws up top here. You pull those out. You pull the side skirt off. Makes it a lot easier. Disconnect your 3 motor leads. Slide your motor out. Now, I had a 17 tooth on there. I'm going to gear this up, and I'm going to turn the punch up a little bit with the stock system, see how this runs, see what the temperatures are like. But I'm going to go from a 17 to a 20 tooth. If it's too much, I'm going to get some other ones. I was originally wanting to put like maybe an 18 or a 19 on there, but we're going to go 20 and see how she works out. But anyway, if you don't have this, and if you're planning on being in the hobby for any length of time, or if you're enjoying it, I would highly, highly suggest getting yourself a good set of tools. Don't go and cheap out and say, well, I'm going to get this, $15 set of tools on Amazon or whatever for now, because all you're going to do is cause yourself aggravation and script that screws. Get yourself a set of the MIP tools, guys. You will not be sorry. These things are awesome. You have far, far, far less strip dot screws and problems if you get yourself a good set of tools from the beginning. I am not promoted by MIP. They do not pay me. They do not send me this. Guys, their tools are great, and I highly suggest them. I have had far less issues ever since doing it, especially when you're doing really screws that are very tight or you have Loctite on them, like motor mounts, Pinions, and stuff like that. Big thing to make sure you get yourself is a good set of tools. Anyway, guys, we are going to change out the Pinion. Now, I took my 2mm here, took the grub screw off. I started this and I decided I was going to start recording now at this point. So anyway, I had the Pinion on here. The Armas have the little safety clip. This little guy right here, if I can grab it. But right there, you got a little safety clip that's on the top of the Pinion also. So you slide that off, unscrew your grub screw, pop your old Pinion off of there. Now we're going to go with a 20 on this. This one does not have a grub screw in it, so I'm going to take the grub screw from this, and I'm going to show you the next part here, which is honestly one of the most important parts, especially when you get a new Pinion and a new grub screw, fresh out of the bag. So many people make this mistake, and I'll show you what it is. All right, everybody. So I'm going to take my old grub screw out here. Sorry, actually, I took it out already. So anyway, got the grub screw here, and we got our new Pinion. Now, when you get this out of the bag, they're going to look all nice and clean. However, there is an oily film 99% of times all over these things. And that is what causes your Loctite. Because obviously, it is very important to use Loctite. Now, a lot of guys, and some people use red stuff. I don't use the red. I have never really had issues with using the blue if you do this properly. Some systems, and depending on the size of the system, the speed, you might need to use the red stuff. I do have red, but I don't use it that often because honestly, it makes it a real nightmare to get off. Now, if you do this whole process and you're still somehow losing it, go to the red, give that a try. Now, what I always do, I use this stuff. It's WD-40, carbon throttle body cleaner. You can use that, brake cleaner, something along those lines, something a heavy dissolvent. So, soak down a little towel here or a paper towel. Get your grub screw on the end of the screw. Wrap it around in there with the cleaner and spin it in there for a minute and get all of the oil, dirt, and old residue off of that thing. So you're starting with a nice, clean grub screw again. You do it a couple times. Make sure that that thing is bare metal. So once you get nothing on there, I usually do the same thing with the Pinion. What I usually do is just kind of spray in here a few times into the grub screw hole and soak it down so that it washes out all of that oil. And then apply a good generous amount of Loctite to your grub screw and the hole, and I'll show you guys that part here once I'm gonna let this dry out here for a second to bring you guys back. All right, so after you've washed out the grub screw hole on your pinion a couple times, let it dry out real good, blow it out, make sure it's all nice and dry. Now on anything, on any type of thing that you're going to use Loctite on, if it has a hole that passes the whole way through, I've always liked doing and putting it on there so that it allows you to soak the threads inside. You can kind of give a little push going in there and getting the hole nice and filled up with Loctite. This is the blue stuff, and then I'll usually put just a little bit on the grub screw also. Now, if it's a hole that does not pass the whole way through whatever object you're doing, at that point you can mainly just cover the grub screw really well. But get your grub screw started in there, and also what I do is I clean up the shaft of the motor also really well with the same cleaner. And guys, if you're using this WD-40 stuff, be careful. It does not like plastic. It does not like body shells. Don't ask me how I know, but don't spray it on your body shell and try and clean it off. It's great for cleaning steel parts and things like this, but you do not want to spray this stuff on your car. Not good at all. So anyway, we got our grub screw nice and cleaned up, got our Loctite on there, and then we're going to go ahead, line up our spot on the shaft. Now, certain pinions, depending on the size of the pinion, you might not be able to use the little clip that comes, that comes on its stock, the little C clip. You might not be able to use that again on certain pinions. They will not fit. I think on this one, we'll be able to reuse it. But on these, most of the times, you're going to line up the grub screw to where your screwdriver just fits in there and is able to clear the motor mount and the pinion. So you slide it down to that point, give her a couple tightens down, crank her down a bit, and at this point, using a good tool, again, I emphasize this part, using a good tool, give that thing a good crank and put your C-clip back on if it will fit. Let this thing dry for 24 hours. Don't try to say, well, it dried for 8 hours. It dried for 12 hours. I'm going to go out and run it. Do not run it. I never have issues if I let these things dry for at least for 24 hours. I'll do this before I'm going to run anything. Let this thing dry. Let the Loctite do its job. Harden up, dry up for 24 hours, and then take her out and give her a rip. Highly, highly want to push that point. You got to let the Loctite dry. It doesn't do it instantaneously. It doesn't dry in an hour. To seep in and all those threads inside to dry up, it's going to take usually at least 24 hours. So definitely let that. But that's it, guys. Like I said, if your clip is able to go back on, and this one you can, as you can see, there's still enough sticking up out of there. Put your C-clip back on. Let this thing dry up. Get everything installed in there. Let her dry up for 24 hours, and you're ready to go rip. All right, guys, so I'm just showing you here the safety clip. What you want to do is kind of get it laid back in place where it's just starting. Get a pair of needle nose and snap her right on like that. Wipe off your excess, Loctite, get everything cleaned up. Get her installed. I'm going to throw a fan on this thing. I have some good fans coming, but I'm also going to throw on, I have one of these 35 millimeter Hobby Wing fans. I'm going to chuck on here for the time being. I have a couple nice aluminum ones on the way. So once they come, I will put that on there, but we're going to go ahead and get the motor installed back in this thing. One other thing I wanted to note about gears. A lot of guys asking about gears and what brands. I have been using on all of my cars now, at least for what I still have some random ones and some ones that are still decent here. But if I am ordering any new gears for any of the cars at this point, the only gears I am using are Saga gears. Again, I'm not paid by them. They're not sent to me. I pay for them. But guys, I have had the best luck, and they're really nice gears made by Saga. You'll find them on eBay. I will drop a link in the bottom of this video to their to one of their gears, and then you can search their pages and find which ones you're looking for. But guys, always had really great luck with the Saga gears. Really nice, really happy with them. So anyway, I think that's going to conclude this. I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing installed back up, and I'll bring you guys back when she's finished. One other thing, I recently mentioned this in another video, but these are your stock Arma screws, these little cap style. get rid of these things. They are junk. Total junk. These heads on these screws strip out so easy, and it doesn't matter what tools you have. The metal on these things are very soft. Get yourself on eBay. These are now going from, rather than a 2.5 millimeter screw head on these, I'm sorry, I had the wrong screw in my hand, but the stock Armor ones take a 2.5 millimeter. I have now been changing all of mine out to these, and they take a 3 millimeter. These are on eBay. They are an M4 by 18 millimeter thread. The 18 millimeter length by an M4 screw. And you got a lot more meat to grab a hold of in here with these bigger button caps, I think they're called. They hold up way better. You got way more metal to grab a hold of. You can crank on these things if you need to. But again, you don't have to go too crazy on these, but make sure they're nice and snug. I will drop the link in the video also to where you can find these screws. And definitely been a great upgrade getting rid of these stock Arma motor mount screws, because these things are just garbage, guys. You end up stripping these out and fighting with these and trying to get them back out at some point and having to cut a slot in the top of it, because that's what a lot of guys do, and I've had to do, is you take a Dremel and you cut a slot across this and turn it into a flathead and have to get them out that way. But anyway, definitely suggest upgrading your motor mount screws to these. All right, so I'm trying to record this the best I can. Now, as far as your mesh, now everybody can use the paper piece, and you're putting a piece of paper in between your pinion and your spur, your center diff there. This is what I always do. I slide it in there, get it meshed up, roll the car back and forth a few times. Now, I don't know if you can see or hear this. I'm going to grab the gear from underneath the car, and you can kind of hear that light little click. And you can see you want just a tiny bit of play in there, just enough for the gear to just barely rock back and forth. And then wheel your car back and forth a few times to make sure that it's not too tight. Setting that mesh is obviously very important, because you will tear up your gears. Sorry, I was trying to get some light down in here so you guys could kind of see the rocking motion that I got going on. It's very light, but that's how I always set mine. I don't have any issues. Again, everybody has their own method to doing this. This is mine. And honestly, I don't have too many problems with it. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera unclipped off. I'm having to use my drill to hold the camera. But anyway, guys, that is it. Once you get your gear mesh set, go ahead and give your 2 screws a crank down, get everything buttoned back up again. She's ready to rip. All right, everyone, the Mojave's all back together again. We got a 20-tooth pinion on here now, and I got this fan on here temporarily. I'm sure when it takes those hard chassis slaps, these fans don't like to stay together very well. The fan blades break off. That's why I ordered some better fans for this thing, and I got those. They should be here in the next day or two, but I'm going to run this thing on there for now because, guys, we have a few 60-degree days coming up, but I'm actually home. So we're going to go out and have some fun with a bunch of cars and be putting out some fun videos, I'm sure. But I hope you guys enjoyed the little install video on the Pinion. Again, guys, for many of you guys out there on the channel, I know that this is probably, some normal information, but, for all you guys out there starting out, and I know one of the first times I ever tried putting a Pinion on, I was losing it and having issues until I found out, the secrets and how you get these things to work on there properly. So I hope this video helps somebody, but that's going to do it. So until next time, y'all be safe, be careful out there. Peace out, everybody.